Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Get Sharp. I'm Corey. Well, I've been staying super friggin' busy, working all day at the bank, and getting lots of calls for sharpening. Today, I had a woman reach out to me. She said she had a handful of knives to sharpen. Ended up being really close to my work, so I said, "Hey, I'll come swing by and pick them up on lunch for you." And she's got this little no-name, I don't know, 7 or 6 inch kind of chef-looking knife. A Victorinox. Really nice knife. Got your Hinkles. This is one of the kind of the low-end Hinkle chef knives. I saw these laying on the counter when I got there, and I said, "Hey, how are those things doing?" She said, "They're terrible." And I said, "I can sharpen those too." So she threw that in the mix. Really nice Hinkles bread knife, serrated bread knife. This is the Swilling? Weird word. But yeah, that's what it is. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not. And then we got a couple Westoffs. A little 3-inch Westhoff paring knife. And a 4.5 Westhoff utility knife. Like, this guy comes through almost every time we get a kitchen set. It's a very popular knife for those who have good taste and are willing to spend that little extra money on a good knife set. So, I had so much on the plate today, I just went ahead and got all of them done except for the 2 Westoffs. They're all X50 CRMO V15. So I went ahead and did 15 degrees on them all. Like a true 15 single or double bevel. No micro bevels on them. And with the Westoffs, we're gonna go with 14. Cause God, I went to the Westhoff website. I could have swore they had their edge angles on their website, but maybe not. So some blade forum, bunch of guys chatting, and they agreed upon 14 degrees, so that's what we're going with. Although with that kind of steel, every day I'm leaning more towards a true 12 degree double bevel or 24. So all the research I find says that will extend the durability, longevity of the blade. But I'm looking to get some feedback. I think you remember Trey. He had that really beautiful, the most beautiful knife that's come through here, in my opinion. Miyabi. He said go for the 12 on that one. So maybe in a couple weeks, a month, I'll reach out and say, "Hey, how's that Miyabi holding up?" If it's holding strong, I'm gonna go ahead and do try 12 on. Well, that's a whole different kind of steel. That was a super steel. Yeah, I just need to find a customer that I know I can keep in touch with and try it out. Just offer to resharpen it if they hate it in a couple weeks or a month. Shit, maybe we just do it to one of our own kitchen knives. I don't know if I have any of that X50 up in our household. I don't think we do. I mean, I got some on the wall, but. Anyhow, between work and sharpening, it feels like Friday, but it's only Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Or is it Monday? It's gotta be Tuesday. I fucking hope it's Tuesday. I know it's not Wednesday. But anyhow, yeah. I'm going hard at life right now. I do this every 5 or so years. I just go extra hard at something. 5 years ago, I went hard at Call of Duty. Worked my way up to Crimson and ranked play, and was like, well, that's into that. Couldn't get past Crimson. Really comes down to teammates. I don't know if I was the problem or my teammates, but not that they're problems. It's just, it's a team game and you peak out. No one on the team's at fault. Problem is, Activision Blizzard, they're not paying us to play, so how much time you really willing to invest in that game? I'm gonna go ahead and put some safety tape on this bad boy. They're not in the best condition, like they're old. But still, I don't want to nick up Susan's nice knife here. What a sweet lady too. Yeah, it's kind of a challenge with my having a day job and juggling this at the same time, because people call, they're like, I want to meet now. But if they call and I'm in the middle of a deal at work, guess what? Work comes first, my main job. So she called and I was in the middle of something, and I explained to her it's a side hustle, this, that, whatever. She's like, well, maybe we can, and then we discovered that we have opposing schedules. She works evenings, I work in the middle of the day. She's like, maybe Friday will work. Get off the phone and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna friggin' lose her. I look at the clock, it's 12:15, and I'm like, dude, I'll just take an early lunch. I'll go jam over there real quick, I'll pick up her knives. I'll just go back to work, and when I get off work, I'll to work, start sharpening. So I've got between like 5 o'clock and whatever time I want to go to bed to finish all these. So I didn't bust out the camera for all of them. I figure, I was like, I could probably film the two small ones. Those shouldn't take too long. Depending on how late in the evening it is, by the time I get to that point, yeah. So I don't know if anybody watching follows American or US politics at all, but Hunter Biden had a couple interviews recently, and holy cow, that shit's interesting. Let me tell you, here's what's interesting about Hunter Biden. He has had his pants pulled down on live TV in front of the whole United States and told to stand in front of us all for an hour. And then they pulled out microscopes. Microscope, that's funny, but not for that reason. But what I'm trying to get to is that, like, this guy has had all his every piece of dirty laundry exposed. And now, like, listening to him, I'm like, dude, he's got nothing to fucking lose. He's got nothing to hide, which makes it very interesting. So he spoke in depth this evening with Channel 5 News, which if you haven't checked that guy out, oh man, he's got I love his channel. I'm not like a follower or anything, but like, he reminds me of prime Vice News days, one of those kinds of reporters. Anyhow, yeah, so while I was doing all these nights, I was listening to Hunter Biden go off about the Epstein situation, and he's got some pretty solid. I gotta quit cussing. I've been listening to too much Hunter Biden, so I'm cussing now. But trying to stop cussing, so because I read that YouTube doesn't like it, and my goal is to do well on YouTube. Anyhow, Hunter Biden really has some interesting views on what's going on. And he said what everybody's thinking, or at least what I think everybody's thinking, is like the Epstein files have been in U.S. custody since what? 2019, 2020, something like that? And his dad, Joe Biden, was president. Like, he's like, wouldn't my dad have, like, why would my dad wait till he lost an election for Trump to get elected to, like, spill the beans, you know? It's like, there's nothing there. Or no, he didn't say there's nothing there. Actually, I forget that whole part, like, where he was going with that. Why didn't Joe Biden spill the beans if Trump was in there? But Trump did say the whole time while he was running for the last, like, 6 years, Trump's been like, Epstein, we need to get the files, And suddenly he's like, it's not a big deal, like, it's boring. He literally said it's boring. The biggest child abuse case in the history of the world. I mean, maybe not the biggest, but we want to know. Because if I find out, I'm just going to throw a random example out there. The CEO of Walmart went there. Like, went there a lot. Nope. I'll never spend another penny there. That's just how I roll. If Trump's in there, oh, dead to me. I've never been like a big Trump fan. It's funny, like, I'll tell you my story about Trump. Before he ran, like when they first announced, or he first announced that he was running, my knee-jerk reaction was like, like, what if? Like, could this be good? Businessman, like, kind of shake things up. Maybe it could be good for the United States. But when it came down to it, no, I couldn't vote for him. And this last time, too, I just didn't vote, period, because, South Park says, shit or shit sandwich. Which one do you want to eat? So I decided just not to vote at all. Plus, I live in Washington, so it don't really matter if I vote or not. You already know which way this state's going. But I'm not opposed to going red or blue. I'm gonna go whichever way our country needs to go at a given time, And I think right now, like, I'm not opposed to red because I think the Democrat Party has definitely changed a lot since, a decade ago. I feel like they kind of became what they were fighting against, which is unfortunate. But anyways, yeah, Hunter Biden. Who would have thought he would become a political talking head that's actually kind of interesting to listen to? So I've got looks like I got a bevel or a apex going on the bottom, apex burr, but the cheek. And I think the idea with the cheek, like, why that's not catching up at all. When we run across, there's so much flat space, all that's getting a lot of time on the stone. But when you go to pivot, you're only getting a little tiny fraction of stone to steel per second. Whereas when you're on the flat spot, you get a big portion of steel getting on there, so it gets more time. Don't quote me on that. This is not what I'm trained in, but it's just something I'm starting to notice as I'm always looking for ways to get 1% better and increase my understanding. I'm just kind of focusing on the tip a little bit. See if I can get that caught up. It's getting there. We're gonna pull it all together. Oh man, this is rough. So this was filmed yesterday, and I hadn't eaten all day. And following this moment, I made one mistake after a friggin' another one. This knife, no joke, took me an hour because of all the mistakes. I hadn't eaten all day. It was a rough one. It was burnout is what it was. Come to find out, I made another mistake I didn't even realize. I forgot to format the SD card before I started shooting. So the whole burnout didn't even get filmed. Anyhow, I appreciate y'all. Thank you to all the new subscribers. We had a big boost recently. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm gonna get back in the garage right now and start filming again for another video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.